My FMP project will be a solo EP in the style of digital hardcore, inspired by the likes of Alec Empire, Ekata, and Lolita Storm, for example. It will require me learning how to compose, mix, and master on Logic, use drum machines, do vocals, and write music in a style that's new to me. This idea has been brewing in my mind since Noyes showed me some songs from Alec Empire's Intelligence and Sacrifice album a few months ago, and the blend of punk, metal, and techno really stuck with me. I initially wanted to do it as a joint project with him, as he has produced breakcore and I like playing punk and metal riffs, so it would be the perfect duo to do a project like this, him handling the technology while I use the instruments. However, he decided to pursue his underground rap project for FMP, but he's open to helping me out with the production side. To prepare for the project, I made a playlist with music from a few artists under Empire's digital hardcore label, and I've been listening to it to become more familiar with the conventions of the genre. I also carried out an Ekata song breakdown and an Atari Teenage Riot album review, which did the same thing but in more detail. I did research for my other initial ideas, for example, researching how to write film score, but since both my other ideas were in collaboration with Liv, and she was absent during most of the proposal period, I had no choice but to pick the solo project as my main idea. The practical research I carried out was using a drum machine, chopping up a drum break, and making a short song with Liv. I used the college drum machines a few times, but was only able to record one. They were a struggle to use, and I encountered many problems such as no sound coming out of it. Using them was mostly a waste of time, as I would constantly have to get help, while Mark was obviously too busy to be assisting me the whole time. I can achieve the same effect by using a sequencer on Logic, which would be more efficient, easy, and customizable as I can load in my own sounds. My experimentation with chopping and rearranging a drum sample was enjoyable, and I'm fairly happy with the result. I prefer placing each note in a MIDI region to putting them in a pattern, as it's more straightforward to me, and I've had more experience with this method. I feel confident in using this technique in my music. The Grimes-inspired song I made with Liv on Logic was simple and quick to make, and working with her is more fun than working alone. Although I'm not too keen on making music in a softer style, especially for the final project, I'd rather do something I enjoy making and listening to more. I also think I'm better at making music in a more aggressive style, so a lot of the writing would be from Liv, I think. The schedule for my project involves me making and mixing a song and doing a research piece every week for the first 5 weeks, then mastering, promoting, releasing, and catching up on whatever work I missed until the final week of evaluations. I'm worried this won't be achievable as I don't write songs often and I've never mixed or mastered anything, so making the tracks in a short time frame could be hard. I also struggle with time management, so doing this plus a written piece, which always takes me ages to get done, every single week could be unrealistic and I could fall behind. On the other hand, when I'm done with the EP, I'm also done with the research, and the time between finishing it and evaluation will be a lot less stressful. Meeting deadlines is a hard thing for me, and I usually end up having to cram in work at the end of the project to submit on time. This is already happening with the summative deadline. However, for the first week of the project, I'm basically doing the same thing every week, writing a song, mixing a song, and doing a written research piece. This means I'll probably get used to it and manage my time better the more I do it. This could also mean I fall behind if I don't manage to get my weekly tasks done. I could try to prevent this by doing more work at home, removing distractions when I'm working, and spending time in the LRC to catch up. I'll also reward myself for completing tasks to motivate me more. The resources and equipment I will need from the college include practice rooms, Logic, Macs, workshops from tutors, drum machines, and microphones. These are all things that aren't available to me at home, so I need to take the opportunity to use these facilities while I'm still in college to enhance my musical skills and knowledge to have more practice for the industry. Here are the key tasks in my project journey. Making the first song for the EP on the week starting 23rd of February, writing the first original for the EP and mixing my first ever song on the week starting 2nd March, mastering all the songs and beginning to promote on the week starting 13th April, EP release and listening party on the week starting 4th May, and final evaluation and submission on the week starting 11th May. Over the project, I'll create 1 cover and 4 originals using electric guitar, drum machines, synths, chopped drum breaks, shouting, samples, and more. I don't think music theory will have that much of a place in my project as I'm focusing more on electronic composition, so I'll be learning how to use different technology instead of learning theory. I don't have any collaborations confirmed, but I want to collaborate with Noyes in some way as he inspired me to pick this brief by showing me Empire's music, and he will be helping me along the way with using Logic, mixing, mastering, and recording. I would either get him to join vocals on a song, as artists like Atari Teenage Riot and Akata feature both male and female vocals, which is a cool contrast, or get him to make the drums melody on one, drums or melody on one, or do both. I also am thinking about asking Zach to collaborate on a song as he is doing a similar project, industrial music featuring rock guitar and techno beats. I think these musical styles would work well together, and he's skilled in production, so it would be helpful to learn from him. Some skills that I will use from previous projects include solo songwriting, multi-instrumental, marketing, and research. I will demonstrate these in my practical and written work and identify my development in short evaluations at the end of written work and journals, as well as getting feedback from tutors and peers to see what I need to improve. Some skills I need to develop are time management, motivation, and organisation. These hinder my work progress and cause me to fall behind on work and sometimes miss deadlines. I can improve these by having a tight schedule and making sure I get all of my week's work done in the week by working at home and the LRC whenever I can. I think I did a successful SWOT analysis as I highlighted the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats relevant to my project, including artist image, working alone, equipment, and work overload, respectively, and explained them. I can use this at the end of the project to reflect on what I improved on, what I lacked, and if the threats actually threatened me. Since I'm not doing a gig or using the studio, there aren't many safety risks involved. The most likely risks that I have identified in my risk assessment are tripping on cables, which can be prevented by keeping wires organised, migraines from screen overexposure, which I can prevent by taking 15-minute breaks every 2 hours of working, and musculoskeletal fatigue from carrying equipment, which can be prevented by using lighter equipment and getting help from other people to carry heavy things. Some challenges I will encounter on the project include anxiety for doing vocals, struggle with using technology like Logic, and time management issues. I can combat these by getting help from tutors and peers as much as possible and setting schedules for myself. The final project will be an EP released on SoundCloud and YouTube and promoted on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. There will also be a release party, probably streamed on Twitch. This project will prepare me for my next steps in joining the industry as I will have more of a skill range by learning how to make music electronically, which is a useful skill to have in the modern day. My ability to make both electronic and analog music, as well as combine them, will make me fit for a wider range of jobs in the market. Additionally, my marketing skills will be useful for a different field in the industry, and if I go on to become a musician, being able to mix, master, and market my own pieces will make becoming successful more realistic. In the proposal process, I have learned how to chop drum breaks and use drum machines at a base level. I've also learned a lot about what goes into making digital hardcore and electronic music in general, and how to do it myself. On the other hand, I've learnt that my time management issues are slowing me down a lot, and I need to be aware of this going into the main part of the project. As I've said earlier, I will plan the project thoroughly and do work outside of lesson in the LRC and at home to stay on track. I will also make sure to utilise help from tutors and production peers to improve my skills and knowledge on producing music using Logic.